The big one was at night, and it was between Texas A&M and Texas. The Lone Star Showdown returning to Austin for the first time in 15 years. Texas A&M came in, I think, a slight favorite, 2.5, 3 points, something of that nature. Both of us were on Texas A&M for a whole multitude of reasons, but this game evolved in a really strange way. It went from, I thought, early looking like Arch Manning was going to be constantly under duress and was not going to have much to say with the final outcome, just because of how ferocious it seemed the A&M defense was. But then as the game wore on, he started to grow into it. As the game wore on, Texas started to actually lean on its run game. It became apparent that Marcel Reed and the otherwise really potent Texas A&M offense was not able to just flip a switch and get it going against this Texas defense. And before you knew it, Texas pulled the big-time upset at home, and through the SEC title chase, to some extent the College Football Playoff chase, a bunch of things into a mini tailspin, let's say, headed into the college football weekend.
Yes. Look, it was a disappointing first half for Arch Manning and Texas offensively. Texas A&M did a nice job of speeding him up. But Texas did a good job of not having any back-breaking mistakes. They were just off in that first half, whereas Texas A&M was making plays at times. Casey Concepcion was making plays. Marcel Reed's ankle rolled from under him, and it was, actually really nice to see him come back pretty quickly from that after what looked like it could have been a pretty scary situation. And then Texas came out in the second half and made plays. It was as comfortable as we've seen Arch Manning against a very good team this season in a high leverage moment. And there have been a lot of them for Texas this season, given the quality of their opponents over the course of this season. But stepping into the pocket, forging that connection with Jack Endries, the tight end transfer from Cal, not getting a ton from his running game leading up to this game, and then all of the sudden being able to pop some in play action, both, with his own arm and then using his own legs, and getting Trey Wisner to get, this wasn't Arch Manning getting Trey Wisner, but Texas getting Trey Wisner to sort of find grass, find turf, and open up holes for him. And you could just see Texas riding the energy in the stadium in that second half, getting stops on defense, and that's without Anthony Hill. That this was when Texas sort of ascended to what we all expected them to more consistently be this year. I would argue a little too late in terms of the Texas fan postseason hopes.
Right.
But
right.
in terms of the vibes around this specific performance, the ending was immaculate for Texas.
It was. I was really impressed with Texas's ability to rally in the second half with 24 points. I was impressed by their defense, and as I said, its ability to contain Marcel Reed and an otherwise really solid A&M ground assault. And I've been impressed the last couple weeks, but I'll say it again with what we saw out of Arch. I don't want to belabor the point, but we've seen real growth from Arch Manning. It seems like ever since he knocked his head a couple weeks ago, he's played a lot freer out there. He's been a lot more decisive. It feels like he's got better control of the offense. He doesn't have happy feet. The mechanics at times can still be a bit wonky, but he is delivering and he is finding ways to get results. In this case, it wasn't so much through the air, though there was a little bit of that. He was getting it done on the ground at a big run, big 35-yard touchdown run at the very end to sort of give them some distance. They end up winning this one at home by a 27-17 margin. So I credit Texas on a bunch of different fronts. Look, Texas A&M is still going to be in this thing.
Yeah.
But I think you pushed up against the point now that we are going to hear endlessly over the next week and a day or so, and that is going to be, should 3-loss Texas be actually considered to be part of the College Football Playoff? Again, it's kind of getting tight there at the back end of the College Football Playoff rankings. Anywhere between 9 and 13 could go a bunch of different directions depending on how the committee feels. Now you add in this Texas element, and who knows? I don't personally think they should be up there. I think they made a hell of a run here, and this was a fantastic win, one of the best wins we've seen all season. But I don't have a 3-loss Texas in at this point.
Do you think we have a lot to get to? Do you think the time is right to bring back Mac Brown to start campaigning in the way that only Mac Brown knows how to do? And he can take shots at Cal once again, like he did way back when, just for old time's sake. But this is the time for Mac Brown to make his beautiful return to Austin to start the politicking, because while Sark is doing his best, there's nothing like old Mac and maybe Sally, Sally, to get involved with the Texas PR blitz that a certain network based in Bristol, Connecticut may or may not be behind. So it was great for Texas. Obviously, the Georgia game still happened, so it hasn't been a great November for Texas, but certainly there have been more promising moments for Texas, and Texas A&M had been getting away with it for a little while against some down opponents. It hasn't been an incredible schedule like Texas has faced for Texas A&M, and some close wins, some close calls, most recently against South Carolina. We called the LRO, the luck running out. I don't think Texas A&M is a lucky team. I think they're a very good team, but you can't keep winning like that and expect to keep winning like that as opponents get better, and it just couldn't happen in Austin. I'm glad the energy and malice and emotional violence is back in this matchup and in this sport.